Distinguished Chairperson of this august gathering and Secretary of the Marx Memorial Library, Professor Mary Davis, Her Excellency the Ambassador of Cuba to the UK, 𝒆𝒂𝒃𝒂𝒓𝒄𝒉, General Secretary of the Communist Party of Britain, Robert Griffiths, Chairperson of the Marx Memorial Library, Alex Gordon, Treasurer of the Marx Memorial Library, 𝒃𝒂𝒄𝒉, distinguished representatives from the embassies of China, Vietnam, Laos, Venezuela, Sri Lanka, and my dear comrades and friends. At the outset, I profusely thank the leadership of the Communist Party of Britain and the Marx Memorial Library for giving me this great honor and privilege of delivering the 2025 Marx oration to mark the death anniversary of the greatest revolutionary thinker who ever lived, Karl Marx. On behalf of the 1 million members of the Communist Party of India Marxist and the 15 million members of the All India Kisan Sabha, that is the All India Farmers Union, I convey my warmest revolutionary greetings and red salute to you all. On 17th March 1883, 142 years ago, the great Friedrich Engels was here, close to this very spot, paying homage at the grave of his closest comrade and friend. There Engels said, Marx was, before all else, a revolutionist. His name will endure through the ages, and so also will his work. These were the iconic words of Engels at Marx's funeral. How prophetic Engels was! The name and work of Marx has not only endured, but has greatly enhanced through the ages. Marx wrote in his youth, quoted by Ismara here, the philosophers have only interpreted the world in various ways. The point, however, is to change it. His scientific, critical, and revolutionary method of the analysis of society has indeed changed the world, and there is no doubt that it will change it even more in the days to come. Marx's discovery of the science of dialectical and historical materialism, the theory of surplus value, which uncovers the reality of exploitation and his stress on the necessity of a political class struggle to achieve revolution, liberation, and socialism, have been borne out by the actual experience of gigantic struggles. The historic saga of various socialist revolutions and their spectacular achievements, and of the iconic and victorious struggle of the Soviet Union against world fascism, will always live on through the ages. The state of the world today proves the relevance of Marxist analysis. Let us take just 3 brief quotes of Marx and see how perfectly they apply today. In Capital, Volume 1, Marx writes, if money, according to Augier, comes into the world with a congenital blood stain on one cheek, capital comes dripping from head to foot from every pore with blood and dirt. This is what Marx wrote. And then he adds a footnote quoting Dunning, where he says, with adequate profit, capital is very bold. A certain 10% will ensure its employment anywhere. A certain 20% will produce eagerness, 50% positive audacity, 100% will make it ready to trample on all human laws, and 300% profit, and there is not a crime at which it will scruple, nor a risk that it will not run, even to the chance of its owner being hanged. And again he writes, if turbulence and strife will bring profit, it will freely encourage both. That is what capitalism is. And again, in Capital Volume 1, Marx writes, accumulation of wealth at one pole is therefore at the same time accumulation of misery, agony of toil, slavery, ignorance, brutality, mental degradation at the other pole, at the opposite pole, that is, on the side of the class that produces its own product in the form of capital. And the third and the last quotation. In the Communist Manifesto, Marx and Engels write, the need of a constantly expanding market for its products chases the bourgeoisie over the whole surface of the globe. It must nestle everywhere, settle everywhere, establish connections everywhere. Marx and Engels, in this prescient passage, hint at the globalization to come. How many years ago? 177 years ago. This is what they wrote in 1848. With the development of capitalism, Lenin enriched this concept of Marx in his seminal work, Imperialism, the Highest Stage of Capitalism, in 1917. What do we see in the world today? We are coming to the present. What do we see in the world today which underlines the relevance of Marx? Gross and obscene inequalities abound. The world's richest 1% own more wealth than the bottom 95% of humanity. Since 2020, the richest 1% have grabbed nearly 67% of all new wealth, nearly twice as much as the bottom 99% of humanity. Billionaire fortunes are rising by $2.7 billion a day, even as inflation outpaces the wages of 1.7 billion workers. The cost of living crisis. On the other hand, in 2023, 46% of the world's population, or over 3 billion people, are living under the global poverty line. Of these, 700 million people live in extreme poverty, surviving on less than $2.15 per day. 10.7% of the world population is affected by severe food insecurity, and of these, 60% who go hungry are women and girls. The global unemployment rate today is 5%, and the global youth unemployment rate is 13%. Newer technologies and artificial intelligence are aggravating unemployment and exploitation and leading to still greater super profits for the large monopolies and corporate houses. Runaway inflation and wages not keeping up with it has led to a severe cost of living crisis in several countries for both the working class and the middle class. In 2024, 54 countries were in a debt crisis, and net resource transfers from developing to developed countries have averaged $700 billion per year. This is the stark situation of the world today. there is not a shadow of doubt that all the above stark facts are a direct result of the policies of neoliberalism and imperialist globalization, which have intensified in the last 4 decades. These policies met with a rude shock in 2008 with the global financial crisis, which began in the USA, spread to Europe and all over the world, and forced many capitalist world leaders to turn to none other than, these are Engels' words at the same grave speech, the best hated and most calumniated Marx. All these big capitalist leaders, they turned to this Marx to get a credible explanation for these events. What a poetic irony that was. What a poetic irony. That is what? The rising social unrest as a result of these extreme global inequalities between the global north and the global south, economic and social inequalities within each nation, and the attacks of the ruling classes on the working people through austerity measures, is being broadly channelized in 2 directions depending upon the concrete situation in each country. One direction is the rightward shift in many countries, which sometimes takes the form of far-right and neo-fascist attacks on racial, religious and other minorities, including immigrants. Ironically, this same policy of Adolf Hitler is now being faithfully copied by Benjamin Netanyahu now against Palestine, and also by some others. In many countries, the political ideological bankruptcy of social democratic parties and their unprincipled compromises have helped the far right to advance. The opposite trend is the leftward shift in some countries of Latin America, Asia and Europe, where left forces could win over sections of the people. And here I mention Venezuela, Bolivia, Brazil, Mexico, Colombia, Uruguay, and of course the latest great victories in Sri Lanka, near my own country, where Marxists have come to power, not only as the president, but also in parliament. So these are also happening. On the other hand, the left is also asserting itself. Donald Trump of the USA is the latest and classic example of the far-right, neo-fascist, authoritarian offensive. There is a method in his madness. And what is that method? It is a systematic last-ditch attempt to arrest the inexorable decline of the USA. This attempt is bound to fail. Under Trump, the likes of Elon Musk and other large corporate cronies are now directly calling the shots in the US government. This will make it even more plutocratic, neoliberal, anti-people and anti-democratic. Neoliberalism thus creates the conditions for neo-fascism. Trump's ridiculous claims on Greenland, Canada, Panama Canal and Gaza, of all the places, and the tariff and trade wars that he has unleashed are being strongly resisted all over the world. You heard the Canadian Prime Minister, the new Prime Minister, saying that this idea of making Canada the 51st state of the United States is crazy. That's what the Prime Minister of Canada said just 3 or 4 days ago. Direct this thing on Trump. Then his severe attacks on and cutting off funds to the United Nations. USA has been taken out of the World Health Organization. Then he has now removed USA from the Paris Climate Accord, which is absolutely unforgivable. These are all the things that are happening, but they are also being opposed tooth and nail by many forces. His stand on the Ukraine war has now ranged the whole of Western Europe against him. But on the inhuman, imperialist-backed Zionist genocide by Israel against the courageous Palestinian people of Gaza, leading to the deaths of nearly 50,000 people, with 60% of them being women and children, the entire imperialist camp is fully united. USA, Western Europe, also Japan, all of them are united where Palestine and Gaza is concerned. On this occasion, we salute the socialist countries like Cuba, China, Vietnam, Laos, Democratic People's Republic of Korea, and the left-led countries of Latin America and Sri Lanka, who are working hard to ensure the rapid and just socio-economic progress of their people, and many are also boldly opposing imperialism and Zionism. Our special red salute to the valiant people of Cuba, led by its Communist Party, who are today in the eye of the storm and who are resisting this new attack of Trump on the sovereignty of Cuba. We wish them every success in their victory to come, as Fidel Castro won, as Che Guevara won, as Raul Castro won. The Cuban Communist Party and the people will win yet again. There is no doubt about this. In other countries too, struggles and resistance are increasing. In my country, India, we saw in 2020-21 a truly iconic and united nationwide struggle by millions of farmers who blocked the national highways leading to the nation's capital, Delhi. For a full 1 year and 15 days, 380 days, millions of farmers blocked the nation's capital for 1 year and 15 days. I am proud that my organization, All India Kisan Sabha, was part of this struggle, which was led by a big united front called the Sanyukta Kisan Morcha. These farmers were fighting against the 3 pro-corporate, anti-farmer farm laws imposed by the central government at the height of the COVID pandemic. Over 700 farmers were martyred in this struggle, which eventually forced the government to repeal the 3 farm laws, leading to a historic victory. Now, the same central government is trying to implement the draconian 4 labor codes against the working class, which are equally pro-corporate and anti-worker. A massive, united, nationwide general strike by the working class, supported by a complete rural strike by the peasantry, in which several million workers and peasants will participate, is being planned for next month against this serious assault in India. My comrades and friends, I am concluding. The World Social Forum, as all of us know, has an attractive slogan signifying hope. And that slogan is, another world is possible. Today, at the graveside of the towering revolutionary Karl Marx, on his death anniversary, we need to modify that slogan a bit. And we need to make it into a new slogan, and that slogan is, a socialist world is possible. That is the slogan that we have to take all over the world today. Because socialism for the 21st century is the only alternative before humankind. There is no doubt about that. Marx was right, and he will always be proved right. There is no doubt about that. Comrades and friends, Marx and Engels concluded the Communist Manifesto with these resounding words: the proletarians have nothing to lose but their chains. They have a world to win. That is how the Communist Manifesto ends. Let us work unitedly to prove Marx right once again. Let us bend all our efforts to win over the minds and the hearts of our people. Let us fight with all our energy, strength, power, intelligence, and imagination to win the world. That is the slogan for today. We have to win this world. Thank you very much. Down with imperialism, down with neo-fascism, down with capitalism, down with feudalism. Long live democracy, long live socialism, long live revolution, long live Marxism. Thank you very much.